The impact of the New Deal. We're going to get started on this right after I tell this joke, and it goes a little something like this. I had a friend come up to me the other day, and the friend said, "I wish I was born 1,000 years ago." So I responded by saying, "Why is that?" And the friend said, "Think of all the history that I wouldn't have to learn." But jing. Oh, terrible stuff. Anyway, let's get on to the important stuff. The impact of the New Deal. That's what we're looking at today. The concepts for the video today. What was the overall impact of the New Deal? Was it a success, a failure, and did it end the Great Depression? Which New Deal programs were short-lived? We're just going to touch on a couple. Which New Deal programs are still around today? And finally, what was the impact of FDR's deficit spending? All right. The impact of the New Deal. We've spent a lot of time discussing the New Deal, and you guys have done a lot of research on the New Deal. So, really, what are the legacies that the New Deal has left us? Some of the programs have been long-lasting, and one of those that has been long-lasting is Social Security. We've talked about Social Security already. We know that it does certain things like provide retirement money to those once they reach retirement age. It also helps those who are unemployed. Um, and its existence is also threatened for you and me, whether it's going to be around anymore or long enough. We know that there will probably be changes to it, but we don't know what those changes are going to be or if the changes might be getting rid of it. But even so, the Social Security was something that was created in the 1930s and has survived today, and it will survive into tomorrow. And so that's one of the long-lasting ones. Another one of the long-lasting ones is the Tennessee Valley Authority. And you can see the map below. You can see the number of states that brown area there it spreads out to, and it affects. There we go. The Tennessee Valley Authority is still up and running today, just like Social Security and just like some other programs of the New Deal. However, there are also programs created in the New Deal that have not been as long lasting. One of the earlier ones that was created, one of the earlier programs that was created was the Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC. And this is the program that hired a lot of young men and had them working. And the work they did, had to do with a lot of road building, park building, conservation ideas, and but the way it was run was very military style, and that's something that you may not have even read about in your research on the CCC. Uh, but that is one of the reasons why the CCC is actually short-lived. As soon as Pearl Harbor hit, or the Japanese hit Pearl Harbor, the CCC is going to come to an end because you have a lot of able-bodied men, young men, that can be used in the war. And sure enough, that's where a lot of the CCC men, they go next, is they're going to go off to fight in World War II. As for Roosevelt and deficit spending, this has had a large impact because we are certainly used to deficit spending today, except there is a major difference between now and FDR and deficit spending in the Great Depression. At the time, FDR admittedly thought of it as an evil, as a bad thing, but he felt it was necessary. But after the Great Depression, it was expected that the deficit would be paid back and solved. Um, we don't have that same outlook today on it. So the last thing we'll ask about the Great Depression is how much did the New Deal help solve the Great Depression, and did it bring the Great Depression to an end? And there's a lot of debate over the first part of that, of how much it actually did help. Some people say it helped a lot, others say no. Uh, the United States would have been better off, or the same things would have happened had the New Deal not have occurred. So let's take a look at one reason why you might say the New Deal was very helpful, and that is from 1933 to 1937, you see the unemployment, which was at 25% in 1933, it declines, goes down below 15% by 1937. Okay, in that 4 year period, it decreases quite a bit. Um, and it boosts the morale of many Americans. You could attribute those reasons to the New Deal programs that were instituted. However, somebody else might take a look at those same numbers, that decrease in unemployment and the economy starting to turn around, and would say, well, if you look across the entire world at all these countries that were affected by the Great Depression, a lot of their economies started to turn around in 1933. Things got better, and the United States had the New Deal, and a lot of these other nations didn't have the New Deal. They may have had some similar things to it, or nothing like it, um, but their economies got better. Okay, so there are many arguments on both sides, and it's a debate that is still ongoing today. But one thing does remain certain, and that is the Great Depression ends because of World War II, not because of the New Deal. So just so we're very clear on that, it's World War II that's going to end the Great Depression in the United States. That's all I got for you today. We'll see you next time.